Welcome to the shop and welcome to the shop. Welcome to the shop. Welcome to the shop. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Nagumak. Uh, Welcome to the shop. And this short film is designed to inspire you in your shop. So I made some shorts, vids on why not to use electricity, and just a 15-second, 1 minute. Those are designed to just attract you to what am I going to make? What's my next video all about? So the 15-second and then the 1 minute. I showed some techniques last night, and I'm not done yet. So I thought, okay, I'll make a small video that's maybe a little bit more than a minute, and that so show you guys in action. And this is the bridge I've been working on. It had all kinds of glue on it, so I actually boiled it, and the glue came off quite easily. So that was nice. And I wonder how the volume is here. I'll try to put when I play music, it goes into the red, but when I'm talking, it seems it might be low. I'm looking for the better settings so that so the video is a better quality. And okay, so this bridge, well, it's a guitar bridge, and I was thinking that most people would would use it for other things, or probably throw it out. Most people would throw this out. I'll show you why. There's a part missing on the bridge here. Usually, you'll have the white or bone, or hopefully not plastic, but most of the time these days bridges are made out of plastic. Me, I like to make them out of bone. You'll see the price difference on, you could check out Etsy. People are making bridges on Etsy, and like a plastic bridge could go for anywhere, 30 cents to $10. A bone bridge goes for $100 up. Like $100, you're getting a deal. So yeah, why? Well, the resonance. So I hope not only to inspire you, but I want to teach you stuff about the truth about the resonating guitar, and where are those sweet spots to remember, so that the guitar always sounds better. How to make your guitar sound better. So yeah, one of the ways is when there's a plastic when there's a plastic bridge, you can replace that plastic bridge with a bone bridge. Anyhow, back to this bridge. The bone part or plastic part is usually held in place, and quite tightly actually, for the best job, between this piece of wood here and what would have been here, and so you could see it's missing. So it's like as if a piece of wood, what can I use for an example? Just to give you an example, there was a piece of wood here, and it ripped off, and there's like a rip. So it's about a 1/4 inch thick here to 1/8 of an inch here. So I know it goes from thick to thin. Most people would just scrap this piece, but me, I earned this guitar. So I worked for a buddy of mine, and I fixed one of his B20s Norman guitars made in the 70s. And poor thing was good. I don't know if I put enough films up to show the example, but the poor thing was glued together with a polyurethane type of plastic kind of garbage stuff you're supposed to use on car engines or something. and, And so this like what in mint condition is worth in close to $2,000 Canadian, and so but the way the neck was broken off and re-glued, and then where the fretboard was glued to the guitar was so messed up that the thing would have been worth maybe $300 or $400 at the most for parts. So I took the time, like I took extra time. He won't ever listen to this video, so he'll never know. But I'll let you know. Um, excuse me. Uh, the time it took me to rebuild his guitar was in an easy in a luthier shop in Montreal. I'm down the rang. I got my own rules, but in a luthier shop in Montreal, the job I did would have easily costed like $500 or $600 because just the neck reset itself is in the couple $100, and so the truss rod, I was able to completely unwind it, and the that would make it a reset. So when I glued the neck back on, like I said, Norman is actually quite nice. It had two uh, screws that hold the neck onto the guitar. Quite nice. Yeah, way to go, Norman. That was a nice undo the neck, do it. But unfortunately, the guy before me had glued the neck was separate from the heel, so there was a gap of like 16th of an inch of space, so the neck was really out of place, and then same thing between the body and the fretboard, really out of place, and there's just no way to get this glue off without damaging a little bit of the guitar. And this is what we're calling it when it's worth $2,000, it's mint condition Norman. This one wasn't mint condition, very well played. And there was scars, like the picking scars, but not much. So yeah, this kind of guitar refurbished to mint is not what I did. But if it were, it could be worth again. Up in those collectors out there want a B20 Norman from the 1970s. There's guitar collectors out there that would easily pay $2,000 for that, restored into mint. And anyways, I didn't restore it back into mint, but I managed to put the neck back on. Managed to take off all the glues without damaging the wood too much. I'd say maybe paper thin scrapings I must have taken off. Just a scraping layer. So pretty, I'd hardly even use the 220 grit sandpaper. Anyhow, so yeah, one of my shorts I was showing how I preferred it to not use electricity, because sometimes when you use electricity, the flat on, just even if it's just right at the corner, the certain amount of pressure you have to put on the bridge can result in that, if you're not uber, like ultra uber, in the most extreme careful, the speed of the sandpaper, even as you're taking the piece off the sandpaper, off the machine, it can sometimes nick, and that nick is a bitch, because your piece has to be like 1/8 of an inch thick. There is a certain resonation that works and a certain strength that works for the guitar. So if you're stuck sanding too much off, your bridge no good no more. If you manage to just sand off the right amount, and as you're taking the piece off your electric tool, you nick your piece, well, then that's a bitch too, because when you're going to glue it back onto your guitar, there's always going to be a little bit of airspace, humidity, hits the glue years later, you know, your bridge can start to peel off. So sometimes we, sometimes I, you know, on cheap guitars, I'd fill in that with cyanide acrylic and a special magic trick that Malone Jill showed me. But the better way is to you know, not have the nick. And if you're really good with electric tools, then you can get away with it. Just the right amount of pressure on your fingers where it's thin, and the right amount of pressure, you know, versus the thickness. You have to know, eh? You have to be able to just the right amount of sanding, and then lift it off ever so carefully. With all the noise and stuff, I think I'm auditory, like auditory. I'm a musician, so yeah, the noise of a machine sometimes can distract me. So I wear gun earmuffs, but even then, uh, anyways, the idea here today is I'm showing this technique because it's one that my brother Bobby showed me, and Gilles was well. We often use the electric tools, but to a certain point, and then when you get to that point, it's better to just be careful. You know, so by hand at the very, 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 very end of the sculpting the piece, hand movements are often the wiser way to go. So I'm getting close here at the bottom. I have maybe hardly a hair here, so I'm gonna keep going at it. I was showing this in my short slap over, slap over. And sometimes the, you know, without the mask on, this kind of results in my, so I got what you call luthier's lungs this morning because I didn't wear my mask last night. Anyhow, so the slap is because it's to make sure you're really put with the slap, you get the even flow of the how much pressure you just put down on your sucker, and then moving that guy in one direction. Because if you're going like often, okay, you might have seen me going like in a circle direction. This is because there is one spot that is just a real, you know, and it's just there. So to take off the big of the stuff, I'd plug it in and go wah, just real quick, you know, and then go back to my hand planing. But you know, this machine doesn't even work. So, but in any case, I will go in circles like this because it will, like, I'll get a uniform uh, pressure, right hand, left hand, centered sides, and making a circle. And sometimes it's almost like the wax on, wax off, you know, Karate Kid uh, movement, you know, and but maybe smaller. And that's another thing. Sometimes the body will get into a movement like this, and it's almost like um, the sound starts to talk to you. So there's like language going on between the bridge and the sandpaper. And sometimes I can hear things. And in circles, I could take. You see, there's a bulk of it that came off, which is great. So I'm back to where I'm getting closer to that one hair coming off, and when I'm close to that one hair coming off, I'll go back to my uniform, slap and over, and slap and over, and slap and over with uniform one direction, and making sure the corners don't have too much pressure, because sometimes even if you're putting your pressure on the corners like this, the pressure of your fingers are going to make that what the corners are going to sand more than the rest of the thing. So, you know, very important to try to maybe just where you know the pressure is going to go equally, around the surface of your around the circumference of your fingers, and you know, be very careful as lifting up, you know, and so down the slap is always guaranteed over, and then careful lifting up. And this is how you make sure you guarantee your corners will be flat with the rest of your bridge to make a flat to flat contact with the soundboard, and that's the only way to go. Yeah. So, but this is just techniques I was going to try to explain and give you guys a little bit more of than a minute. And the other thing, I'm not going to film this for the next 20 minutes, but for me to get at it, I still got another 20 minutes to go. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I'm getting there. And this bridge was made in Italy, in Italia, and it is had these two strange. I've never seen these before. They're like these metal squares that were under the bridge on the inside of the guitar, and they're designed to hold this bridge in place. Personally, I mean, they're on the edges here, the corners, and they did do their job, but they bent. They're not strong enough, and they bent. And, or maybe that bend, you know, it's hard to tell the history of how something broke just by looking at it. But these are interesting. I found that there's a moving piece in there. There's like a ball in there. So I'm going to contact the company. I already did write to them once, Eco Guitars in Italy, and I'll get back to them, see if I can get some new, so two of these, if they've got them, if they still use them, so that I can make sure I keep the guitar original. Otherwise, if I can't get original parts, I'll refistoler these, you know, like I'll fix them up, I'll touch them up, bend them back, to their original, like so I could see they're gonna work. And these chunks here, I'll remove them and see if I can find a screw maybe or a bolt that would then bolt from the top down into these suckers, because these are actually kind of interesting. And if I want to keep them, keep the guitar original, yeah, I'll keep using these. And yeah, it looks to me like boltable, like doable, like it's actually a very good, strong. I don't think it will take too much resonation. You know, it won't take too much vibration out of the sound, out of the chords. Will it offer more vibration? I'm wondering. I'm curious. So I'm gonna contact Eco Guitars and find out about these doodads. And yeah, like I was saying, maybe they can even send me a brand new bridge, you know, like. But hey, I'm one of those guys. This is my guitar, and I'm one of those guys. I'm just gonna fix this. I think, you know, the the chip of wood that came off. I'll flatten it and glue another piece on, and then carve it back to original, you know, specs from the shop, from the original shop, from EcoSpec. It's your standard, it's your standard bridge thing. So it's like I have a standard. I think I might have some cheap plastic ones that I take off of some of my customers' guitars. So I got some plastic bridges laying around. I'll use it as an example because I am going to carve mine out of bone. So, but I'll use the plastic one. I'll put it in place so that I can make my measurements with the wood. And maybe I'll make a piece out of Play-Doh or plasticine first. I don't know. It seems doable enough that for me there, it's like a sliver. To me, it looks like it's going to be a triangle, you know, so no big deal. Up, Yeah, up a quarter of an inch, which I'll trim later, up a quarter of an inch, or over a quarter of an inch and down a quarter of an inch, and the or wait a second, yeah, up a quarter of an inch, one, two, three, yeah. So up a quarter of an inch, over and down, and so the bottom will be a little bit flatter, a little bit more than a quarter of an inch. But I'll flatten this one, make sure, because we're going to glue, the best way to glue is flat on flat. So I'm going to go and flatten this. I'm just scraping it for now right in front of you to show you. Like uh, I get a lot of precision out of this little guy. Like my Mr. Japanese, my best friend. If you're a luthier, you should have one. It's like a samurai sword for those He-Man figures when we were in the 80s size. And yeah, it's serving me right now is just to scrape it. I'm going to make it flat. I can see a little bit more now. I see more with my Japanese knife than with my eyes. And I look further now. Like in the past, I would just look at it like right in front of, like 6 inches in front of my eyes, and I could see exactly what I'm doing. Now I need glasses. So, but actually I could see pretty good if it's a foot away. I'll never, I remember Peter saying that to me too when we were growing up. I remember Peter saying things like that. Yeah. And well, my Uncle Jill, he always wore thick glasses. But often he would give me the like when I was doing my I don't know what you want to call that, my life lessons over at Melon Gilles. When Melon Gilles turned me into a luthier, um, well, often he would have me do work like this because I had good eyes, and and so I learned a lot just because I could see a lot, and Gilles Gilles took advantage of that to teach me, to make sure I would learn properly, to look and use your eyes. Yeah, now I'm a foot away and I can see. And yeah, I think I've almost got it flat, but of course I'm going to go at it with a file because we want it to be super flat. Or sometimes I make my own tools. So we got in the house, in the shop. My camera's like fixed there. Um, Here we go. These tools like this that I'll make myself, and they're just these flat little blocks that I'll glue some sandpaper to it. And of course, in the light, I'm still 1 foot away. I see better, or I'll go find my glasses when it's time to get when I'm getting closer to the final measurements, because I don't want to go too far in. Um, yeah, like I said, most people would scrap this thing, um, and or use it for beads, make beads with it, or so, I don't know. Me, I'm just thinking, take the opportunity to think about it. Okay, fitting a piece can take me maybe, an hour, maybe, or something like that. Whereas making a whole piece, okay, without firing up the electric, this and that. I mean, this thing, okay, even with the electric tools and for the precision that it takes to make a bridge like this, it would take me like a whole day, or a morning, or a good morning, anyways. And even with shop tools, sometimes like like this, and like this, you can't do that on here. So this would have to be done on a different electric tool, like say the band saw, and then just like a tiny little cut in, and then a cut in this way, and you gotta follow, and then this is hardwood, so your blade has to be a good blade. You have to have a good a band saw for that, and anyways, yeah, my band saw is on the Fritz too. Yeah, my electric tools are on the Fritz, and that's okay because then, you know, it makes me feel like I'm in the 16th century or 15th or whatever it is, the 1,000 years ago, when we didn't have electric tools, and I do things by hand. So, and I'm gonna reuse this guy. He's an original piece. You know, if this was for a customer, I would bust out uh, my mahogany from from Italy, and I would cut a chunk out and put it there. But since this is my guitar, I'm probably gonna put some white there, or some cream colored something, or maybe some orange from walnut from Brazil, or some wench from some. This color here is nice, you know. So maybe make it. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah. The lighting is terrible. I'm gonna work on my stuff. So yeah, uh, well that's it, guys. Oh, this would actually make a nice brand. This piece of wood makes this the perfect size for a bridge. I might actually go with making a new bridge. We'll see. I don't know. Take all day to make a brand new bridge, or a few hours to fix one and make them look custom and stuff. I think I'll go with using the original piece. And yeah, so that's it for today. I'll probably make, when I get the piece on there, I'll make another video so that I have you know, bridge classical guitar. It's my first classical guitar that you know, that is going to be mine. I was given a classical guitar once before, made from La Patrie, and it busted about 13 years ago, and I haven't had a classical guitar since. But when people have me repair their classical guitars, I usually play them for for weeks, and play them as long as I can get away with playing them. And then so yeah, I love classical guitars. They have a really nice feeling to them, and not too tough on the fingers. The sound is really beautiful. I love playing jazz on the classical guitar, and or any kind of finger picking, or any kind of um, you know, picking, any kind of lead guitar sounds really nice on the classical guitar. I'm in love with that. So I'm making finally I'm making myself uh, my own my own classical guitar, and it's, well, I'm just remaking it. It was a little bit busted. There's all kinds of cracks, but one little crack at a time, and the frets were all popped off, so I just popped them back on, and then we're gonna go with this with putting this bridge back on, and I'll retouch up the finish. But like I said, it's mine. So, and I got a scar there. If it was for a customer, I'd probably try to hide that scar as good as possible. But as for me, again, I'll just leave the scar there. You know, yeah, cause me, I want to play it. And so that's it for today. That's yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to fix these instruments and then play them, and then maybe you know, if I, you know, pass them on. If I pass on the guitar, I got more to fix too. So I got a couple of acoustic guitars to fix. I got a Bandera that's gonna be. I'm gonna spend a whole week on that alone, because it's gonna be, for me, it's a rebuild. Well, this guitar will probably be this week, and then the Bandera will be next week, and I have also a round mandolin from who knows where. We're gonna find out. And yeah, so well, if you watched this video till now, thanks for staying with me. I hope I've inspired you. And welcome to the shop. Welcome to the shop. Oh, do 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 do. Have a great day. Have a great day.